Why? I see that I must have left my camera on. That's not like me. Camera on. I might as well show you a little bit of something. Okay, so we have music. Now, I know you probably cannot hear it. That's not my problem. So, with that said, let's get started. Now, where did I put that stand? Ah! There's my stand. Now, oops. That's going to leave a mark. So, now, for me to show you, I have this nifty tripod. I don't know why I'm droning on about that, but okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this camera on this stand and proceed to show you. Okay. So, let's do a little bit of fiddling here. Now, first we need thread, obviously. Otherwise, what good will it do us? We're not going to stitch air. So, what we need to do, we need to find the thread, which I have here, which I am not going to show you right now. What I'm going to show you is, in fact, the hook that I'm using, which is very blurry in this camera, but that's life, I can't help it. So, this hook, for those that I realize is blurry, it is a letter I, and it is a 9 to 5.5 millimeter. Standard size hook for me. It's one I use quite regular. Now, the next thing I'm going to use is a very blended color of thread, which I have only a little left of because, well, I'm nearly done with it. It's a multicolor thread, and in fact, it will be changing while I'm working, so don't panic. So, with that said, let me pull out my work that I've already started on. Now, this is what the thread will look like up here when it's on. It will in fact have a blend of many colors. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where my starting point is, which is on the other side, and pull some of my afghan out. Now, as you can see, I still have a little bit left because I saved that specifically for this video, and unfortunately my blur is there, so I'm going to pause my video and I'm going to recapture and let it refocus. Okay, so now that I have my camera set so that you can clearly see, this is the needle I'll be using, as mentioned in the previous video, which is an I 9 to 5.5 millimeter. Now, I'm going to pull out this spiffy little marker here that I use, and I know my girlfriend's probably going to watch this video, so she's going to think, oh, he's using my words in a video. It's copyrighted. No. Anyway, so everybody has their own way of holding their needle. I like to hold mine like that so I can easily twist with my fingers. And in this other hand, for my thread, I've seen a lot of people wonder how I hold my thread. I wrap it over my pinky, over my ring finger, like this. So it goes over my pinky, under my ring finger, over my middle finger, over my forefinger. Now what that does is, that allows me to maintain tension, equal tension throughout the entire work. That way I can pinch it with my fingers and it looks even. Like if you go back and look at these, they're even rather than different tension. Now, what I'm going to be showing you is a double crochet because of the fact that, well, that's what's in my blanket. Now, to do this, it's quite simple. You wrap one time around your needle and you insert into a stitch which is in your work already. Pull through one time, wrap your hook under, pull through two, wrap under, and pull through two. So now we have another stitch. Now right now it looks tugged differently, but as you work along it tightens the rest of them. So what we can do is I'll do a couple stitches in slow for you to watch. Now, you should by now have the hang of that, and if you're like me, you'll stop and rewind the video over and over until you get the process correct. So, what I can do is I can start working to speed, and it's a little harder whenever you have tension on your fabric, like I have now. So what I like to do is I like to release a lot of the tension by resting it in my lap up near where my needles are actually working, so that the tension pulling on it isn't very strong. And I also like to pinch the fabric between my thumb and forefinger to keep the fabric from being very heavy. If your thread is anything like mine, every now and then it'll unravel and cause it to pinch, and it'll do this maneuver. And what that causes is it to get hooked in your needle, and makes it quite aggravating from time to time. Simple way to fix that is to maintain tension without pulling too tight, but don't let a lot of slack go through, and it helps out. Also, sometimes you get lucky, and I found that every now and then I'll get a skein of yarn that will actually wind the other direction, so that whenever I roll my hook under, it doesn't unravel on me. But not a lot you can do about that, unless you feel like unwinding the whole skein and re-rolling it, which I don't think would be a wise idea. So anyway, now for those who have never done a double crochet and would like to learn how to start it, you're about to find out fairly quickly. To do it, once you get to the end of your row, which I have one more stitch to do, then I'll show you precisely how you start. Now, in order to do a double crochet, as you can see, you need something to place the stitch in. So to do that, let's pretend you do not have a chain at all. Okay? You chain one, and you get a chain going that looks like that. Once you do that, and you get the chain as long as you want your work to be, then you chain 3 and go back into 3 or 4 stitches back, depending on how you want it to look. Now, since I'm already at the end of a chain such as this, I have chain 3. I turn my fabric to give it the alternating pattern which you see here, the underside, overside, underside. I flip my fabric, and then I wrap, and then go into not this first stitch, but the second stitch. So I'll go into the second stitch and pull under, and now I have 2. Now that chain 3 that you did counts as a stitch. So always remember that. If you're going to do a crochet, always remember that your chain of 3 to go backwards counts as a stitch. So see, now I have 3 of the new one. And there you go. That's how simple it is to do a double crochet. Nothing hard at all.